I mean, if you're reading the tea leaves, based on what Tiger shared and the comments that we have heard from, say, Rory and others in the past few days, how optimistic should you be if you're just John Doe fan at home wondering, okay, well, when's this all going to kind of come to a head, come to an end?
Well, they all sound very bullish these days. So they obviously, I think, have reason to be because they've typically been very measured in their statements, particularly Jay Monahan and Tiger Woods. Rory's always tried to sound a little bit more bullish than those guys, but Monahan and Woods have always been somewhat more restrained in terms of setting a timetable. And so I would be surprised if there was not something announced in the next few weeks. But of course, announcing the deal and executing the deal are two very different things. And there are a tremendous number of constituencies all fighting their own side of the street who are going to be impacted by this. And that's where it's going to get really fascinating. And I would argue that's when the difficult part starts, is how you figure out what that landscape looks like. Because you're talking about the PGA Tour members and schedule and tournaments and sponsors. You're talking about the DP World Tour. You're talking about the implications for LIV. You're talking about the implications for a broadcast deal. You know, somewhere down that list, way down that list at the moment are the fans. No one seems to be prioritising them. They talk about it, but they're not the priority until they figure out what the landscape looks like. And a deal is going to tell you who's in the kitchen. It's not going to tell you what they're serving, I don't think.
It's been the great unknown, and we've been waiting for SSG to share, okay, what is their strategic vision for reshaping the PGA Tour in the future? And you hear talk on Twitter or on social media, oh, it needs to be more of a global tour. They need to take the professional game to Australia or elsewhere in Europe.
That needs a lot of buy-in from a lot of folks.
The American TV market and the revenue from TV contracts are what run the PGA Tour and professional golf. And you see it with other sports leagues, like in soccer. Premier League has become the pinnacle for soccer, or at least 1A, 1B. So a lot of that now runs through England. But with the primary professional sports in the U.S., NFL, NBA just signed a monster deal where NBC's involved, Major League Baseball, all of that. Their primary source of revenue is TV revenue from right here in the U.S. So I think with the PGA Tour and the future of a global tour, U.S. television dollars are really going to be what drive the economics for that type of deal. So it's hard for me to envision a reshaping where you have a significant portion of the schedule that's played overseas.
Unless someone is willing to subsidize that schedule in the hopes that it can eventually turn into something. But that's probably a long way away.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree there.